I want you to just take a second and imagine walking into two completely different physical retail stores.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Right, so you step into the first one, and it is just a complete chaotic jumble. I mean, products are piled randomly on the floor, the fluorescent lighting is super harsh, and you literally cannot find the checkout counter to save your life.
Oh, yeah. The kind of place that just immediately stresses you out.
Exactly, you just want to leave.
Yeah.
But then you walk across the street into the second store, and it carries the exact same merchandise, but this space has, beautiful, intuitive shelving. The lighting is perfect. The aisles just naturally guide you to what you're looking for.
And buying just feels effortless, right?
Yes. The actual items for sale are identical, but that physical experience, like the architecture of the space, that determines whether you actually pull out your wallet or just turn around and walk out.
Well, and it completely frames the perceived value of the product, too. I mean, if the physical architecture creates friction, you subconsciously assume the product itself is lower quality or that the business is unreliable.
Right. Which brings us to today's topic. Because today we are tearing apart the digital blueprints of these stores to see how they actually work under the hood. We're doing a deep dive into the digital equivalent of that retail architecture, which is Shopify themes.
Yeah, a really crucial topic.
It is. And based on this comprehensive 2026 guide we have, our mission today is to demystify how these storefronts actually work, decode the true costs, and, this is my favorite part, reveal a really neat trick for spying on your competitors.
I love that trick. But, just to set the stage for you, the listener, we are looking at an architecture that currently powers over 4.36 million stores globally.
That is a massive number.
Yeah. It's huge. You really can't understand modern e-commerce without understanding this, invisible shell that holds it all together. So whether you're launching a business or you're auditing an existing one or just trying to understand how digital retail works behind the screens, this is the ultimate shortcut.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we talk about how to choose or, buy a theme, we need to establish what a theme actually is fundamentally.
Right. Underneath the hood.
Exactly. So I like to conceptualize it this way. Think of your store's content. So your actual products, your blog posts, your customer data, inventory counts. Think of that as your physical inventory.
Okay, tracking with you.
The theme is strictly the interior design. It's the paint on the digital walls and the physical shelving units.
But wait, so if a merchant decides they absolutely hate their theme one day and they just delete it from their account, all their products and data just stay perfectly intact?
Yes, exactly. That complete separation is really the defining feature of modern e-commerce. Developers actually refer to it as the separation of church and state. Huh? Separation of church and state.
Yeah. Your data lives securely in a centralized database. The theme is merely a presentation layer. It's like a lens placed over that data to dictate how it visually renders on a screen.
Okay, so if you shatter the lens or you swap it for a new one, the data underneath doesn't care. It's completely untouched.
Precisely.
I mean, that feels so counterintuitive for anyone who remembers building early websites back when the text, the images, and the design code were all just permanently glued together on a single page.
Oh, the dark ages. Yeah, if you wanted to change the layout back then, you had to manually copy and paste every paragraph into a new file.
It was awful.
It really was. But what's fascinating here is the technical evolution that made this seamless separation possible. Because to really grasp the mechanics, we have to look at a massive infrastructure shift called Online Store 2.0.
Or OS 2.0, right, from 2021.
Exactly. OS 2.0 completely rewired how these digital storefronts are constructed. At the base level, Shopify themes run on this proprietary template engine called Liquid.
Okay, and just to make sure we don't lose anyone in the technical weeds here, let's break down those standard web building blocks.
Good idea.
So if HTML is the foundational structure, like the wooden studs of a house, and CSS is the paint and the interior styling, then JavaScript handles the moving parts, right? Like a garage door opening or a pop-up menu.
Spot on. And Liquid takes all of those standard languages and weaves them together using dynamic data tags.
Which are basically what? Just placeholders.
Yeah, exactly. They're essentially placeholders. So instead of hard-coding the price of a shirt into the HTML, the Liquid code includes a tag that basically says, fetch the current price of this specific product from the database and inject it right here.
Oh, wow.
But the real architectural breakthrough of OS 2.0 was the modularity, because it introduced JSON templates to manage how these pages are actually structured.
Okay, let's define JSON in this context for the listener. We're talking about data files that essentially act as like an instruction manual for the store.
Yeah, think of a JSON file as a blueprint. It tells the server which specific pieces of digital furniture go into which rooms. And in this ecosystem, those pieces of furniture are called sections and blocks.
Sections and blocks.
Right. A section is a massive page-level building block. So that could be a hero banner video at the top of a page or a grid displaying your best-selling products.
Or like a carousel of customer testimonials.
Exactly. And then blocks are the microelements nested inside those sections. So a specific image, a paragraph of text, or a buy now button.
Which basically turns website design into a system of digital Lego bricks.
The digital Lego analogy is spot on. I mean, the revolutionary aspect of OS 2.0 is allowing merchants to snap these Lego pieces onto every single page of their store.
Because before 2021, you can only really do that on the homepage, right?
Yeah, it was super rigid.
Yeah.
Prior to OS 2.0, if you wanted a rich, interactive section like an email sign-up form, you dragged it onto the homepage. The rest of the site was just static templates.
So if you wanted a newsletter, sign up inside a blog post.
You had to hire a developer. You had to pay someone to write custom code. But now, you just open the visual editor, grab the newsletter block, and drop it right onto the product page in real time.
You see the visual result instantly without ever looking at the code. That is wild. And the source guide notes this all started with a reference theme called Dawn back in 2021, right?
Yeah, Dawn was basically the proof of concept for this new architecture.
But fast forward to 2025, and they introduced Horizon as the new default theme for all newly created stores. So any modern theme we're talking about today relies on this highly modular drag-and-drop JSON system.
It completely democratized web design. A merchant with literally zero coding knowledge can now build a layout that would have cost, $10,000 in developer fees a decade ago.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because now that we understand these themes are just collections of modular building blocks, we have to look at the financial investment.
Right, the actual price tag.
Yeah, and the source material highlights a performance statistic that honestly seems entirely backward at first glance.
Yeah.
It has to do with page speed scores.
Ah, yes. Speed, the invisible metric that governs everything in e-commerce.
Right. And the data shows that the 24 free themes built directly by Shopify actually boast superior average page speed scores. Like they typically hit between 80 and 95 out of 100 on mobile performance tests.
Which is incredibly fast.
But then you look at premium themes, which cost actual money, and their average scores drop significantly, usually landing between 50 and 85. So I really have to challenge the logic here.
Go for it.
If free themes are demonstrably faster, and they're maintained indefinitely by an in-house engineering team for $0, why on earth would a business owner pay up to $400 for a premium theme that literally slows their site down?
This raises an important question, right? It's about the fundamental trade-offs between raw performance and feature depth.
Okay, how so?
Well, the free themes are incredibly fast because they are highly optimized and intentionally lean. They're built in-house, so the code is, incredibly clean. But the catch is they typically only offer about 15 to 20 different sections you can use.
Oh, so the Lego set is a lot smaller.
Exactly. Now, if your business has a straightforward layout, maybe you're a single product brand or just a really small boutique, a free theme isn't just sufficient, it's actively advantageous because of that speed.
Right. Lean architecture means fewer complex scripts running in the background. But as a business scales, I imagine lean suddenly becomes pretty limiting.
It does, and that's where premium themes come in. They carry a one-time fee of roughly $280 to $400, and they're built by vetted third-party development agencies. You are paying to unlock an expanded structural toolkit.
So instead of 15 basic sections,
You might get 30 to over 50 highly complex modular sections. And the reason they score slightly lower on speed tests is simply because the browser has to load the underlying JavaScript, and CSS required to support all those potential features, even if you aren't using all of them on every single page.
okay, to make this concrete for you listening, let's look at what those extra 35 sections actually provide. Like a classic example is a store with a massive catalog, right? Say 200 distinct products across dozens of categories.
Yeah, a basic single-column drop-down menu from a free theme becomes completely unnavigable for a customer trying to browse that many items.
Exactly. So that catalog size demands what they call a mega menu.
Right, a mega menu. It's one of those large, full-width, multi-column drop-downs where you can display nested categories or highlight promotional banners and feature specific product images directly inside the navigation bar.
And building that from scratch requires heavy, complex code.
It does, but premium themes have that built natively into their Lego set. They also offer high-end lookbook layouts for fashion brands.
Oh, I've seen those, where a user can hover over a lifestyle photo of a model and see shoppable pins for the hat, the jacket, and the shoes all simultaneously.
That's the one. Free themes just don't have that natively.
Now, the guide also outlines custom builds, sitting at a completely different price tier of $3,000 to $15,000 or more. What's the deal there?
So a custom build bypasses the theme store entirely. You actually hire an agency to write the liquid, JSON, and CSS code completely from scratch to your exact specifications.
Wow, so that's for like massive brands.
Yeah, it's reserved for established high-revenue brands with highly unique user experience needs. Like, imagine a company selling custom-built bicycles that needs a complex 3D rendering tool directly on the product page.
Right, no pre-existing template is going to accommodate that natively.
Exactly, but for the vast majority of our listeners, the decision lives strictly between free and premium.
And the ultimate takeaway from our sources regarding that choice is kind of a powerful reality check. Because a free, highly optimized theme populated with professional product photography and persuasive copywriting will consistently outperform a $400 premium theme stuffed with blurry smartphone photos and generic descriptions.
Every single time, the theme is just the display case. I mean, a beautiful mahogany display case with custom lighting will never convince a customer to buy a mediocre, poorly presented product.
Yeah, content drives the conversion. The theme just removes the friction.
Well said.
So because you're committing anywhere from $0 to $400, you really can't afford to buy a theme that fundamentally clashes with how your specific customers shop. Which brings us to the matchmaking phase.
Matchmaking is crucial.
Right, because you wouldn't use a highly visual, fashion-forward lookbook layout to sell, like, a computer motherboard.
No, you definitely wouldn't. The psychology of the customer journey is completely different. The consumer buying a high-end fashion item is making a purchase based on aesthetics, right? Identity, emotion.
They want large imagery and immersive videos.
Exactly. But the consumer buying a motherboard or a piece of specialized hardware, they're making a purchase based on logic, technical specifications, compatibility. They want dense information.
So the challenge for you, if you have zero coding experience, is figuring out how to ensure you pick a structural framework that supports your specific product type without accidentally breaking the site's functionality.
Right.
We know the visual editor allows for code-free customization. So swapping fonts, changing brand colors, moving sections. But how do you match the core layout to your industry standard?
You have to identify the specific interactive features your niche demands before you even open the theme store. So let's look at specific industries.
Okay, let's do it.
Fashion and apparel, for example, rely heavily on quick view features. So allowing a user to select a size and add to cart without ever leaving the main collection page. They also need robust color swatch functionality.
And the free theme Horizon handles this beautifully, right?
It does. And if you're looking at premium, the theme Prestige is arguably the gold standard for that visual editorial storytelling in fashion.
Okay, contrasting that with the motherboard example, electronics and tech, what do they need?
Tech requires information density. Customers need robust product specification tables, side-by-side comparison tools, and the advanced filtering we discussed earlier to sort by, RAM, processor speed, price.
So what themes work there?
The free theme ride is engineered specifically for this kind of catalog, and Warehouse is a dominant premium option designed to handle massive, complex inventories without overwhelming the user.
Nice. And what about food and beverage?
Food brands have a unique challenge. They often need recipe pages seamlessly intertwined with their shoppable products. Plus, their layouts must be heavily optimized for recurring subscription models.
Makes sense. People buy coffee every month.
Exactly. So the free theme taste is built with food and drink in mind. And Focal is a very popular premium option that supports rich storytelling about ingredients and sourcing.
So you really have to shop for the framework that naturally supports the way your product needs to be consumed.
Yeah.
But the sources establish one uncompromising rule that supersedes all of this niche matchmaking.
Yes. Regardless of what you sell, there is a mandate you cannot ignore.
The mobile mandate.
The mobile mandate. The data shows that over 70% of all Shopify store traffic is generated on mobile devices.
70%. That fundamentally changes how a merchant should evaluate their store.
Yeah.
A desktop-first mentality is essentially a conversion killer at this point.
It requires a complete paradigm shift. It's a crucial warning for anyone browsing the theme store. You must evaluate the live demo on your smartphone first.
Yes.
Do not make a purchasing decision based on how breathtaking a theme looks on a 27-inch desktop monitor. It doesn't matter.
So when a listener pulls up a demo theme on their phone, What specific friction points should they be hunting for?
You need to physically test the touch targets. Ask yourself, are the add to cart buttons large enough for an average human thumb to tap without accidentally triggering a different link? Oh, I hate that. When you click the wrong thing.
Right. When a touch target is too small, it causes rage clicks. It frustrates the user until they just abandon the site.
Yeah.
You also need to test the swipe galleries.
Like scrolling through product photos.
Yeah. Does swiping through product images feel native and responsive, or does it lag? Is the paragraph text legible without having to pinch and zoom?
Pinching and zooming is the worst.
It's awful. And finally, test the navigation. When that massive desktop mega menu is collapsed into a tiny hamburger icon on a phone screen, is it still easy to find a specific subcategory?
Right. If the mobile checkout flow is clunky, the theme is useless, regardless of the desktop aesthetics.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean if you are looking at a competitor site or just a brand you deeply admire and you're thinking, wow, I want exactly that layout. How did they build this?
Oh, this is the best part.
It is. The source material actually has a brilliant practical strategy for this, a bit of digital espionage. I'm going to walk through this 30-second source code trick because it requires absolutely no special software. It is an incredibly useful auditing tool to keep in your back pocket.
So here's what you do. You open up any Shopify store in your browser, Chrome, Safari, whatever you prefer. Once the homepage loads, you view the underlying source code.
Which sounds scary, but it's not.
Right. On Windows, the keyboard shortcut is simply Ctrl plus U. On a Mac, you press Command plus Option plus U. This opens a new tab displaying an absolute wall of HTML text, which looks terrifying if you aren't a developer.
Well, you ignore all of it.
Yes, ignore it all. You just press Ctrl plus F to open the search bar and type in the specific phrase theme stored using underscores between the words.
Yep.
The page will immediately jump to a single line of code. If there is a number next to that phrase, you have just successfully identified their theme. That number is a unique identifier.
And then you can just drop that string of digits into any online theme identifier tool, or search it directly in the Shopify theme store, and it will tell you the exact name of the template they purchased.
It's so simple. Yeah. But there is a caveat to that trick, right? What happens when you search for theme store aid, and instead of a specific number, the code simply reads null?
Ah! When you see null, it confirms the theme does not exist in the public marketplace.
So it's custom.
Exactly. That is the digital signature of a custom build. It tells you the brand invested significant capital, that $3,000 to $15,000 range, to have an agency build a proprietary architecture from scratch.
Which saves you from wasting hours scouring the internet for a template you can't actually buy.
Exactly.
Moving into the final things of our sources, we really need to address structural mistakes. The guide lists several rookie errors, and I actually want to push back on one of their major warnings.
Okay, let's hear it.
So the text argues fiercely against a mistake called installing apps for built-in theme features. It warns against buying a minimal free theme and then bolting on a dozen third-party apps to mimic premium features. But logically, if a business owner is trying to keep overhead low, isn't it significantly cheaper to just use the free Horizon theme and staple 10 free apps to it to get the countdown timers and the advanced filters they want?
I see why you'd think that. But if we connect this to the bigger picture of technical performance, that strategy is a total disaster.
Really, a disaster.
Oh, absolutely. The industry refers to it as the Frankenstein app strategy. Every time you install an app to execute a front-end feature, whether that's a complex customer review widget, a specialized product filter, or a pop-up banner, that app injects its own distinct JavaScript library into your store's code.
Oh, meaning the browser has to work harder to render the page.
Drastically harder. If you staple 10 different apps onto a lightweight free theme, you are forcing the customer's mobile browser to fetch, parse, and execute 10 separate, often unoptimized scripts before the user can even click Add to Cart.
Wow. So it completely destroys the page speed metric we discussed earlier.
It obliterates it, and a slow loading time severely damages your search engine optimization, meaning Google will penalize your ranking. Plus, a customer will not wait 4 seconds for a bloated page to load on a 5G connection. They will simply abandon the session.
That makes total sense.
And furthermore, those quote-unquote free apps inevitably transition to paid monthly tiers as your traffic scales. So a merchant ends up paying, like, $60 every single month in app subscription bloat for features they could have acquired natively, cleanly, and permanently with a one-time $300 premium theme purchase.
So just pay the upfront cost for a clean, integrated architecture rather than bolting on a chaotic web of third-party scripts.
Got it.
Now, the guide also warns about the severe penalty of switching themes after your store is already launched. It states you should never switch themes lightly.
Yeah, this goes back to our earlier discussion about JSON templates.
Right.
While it's true that your core data, your products, and your customer list is safely separated from the theme, the structural layout is not.
Ah. So when you install a brand new theme, you don't just push a button and watch your site magically reorganize itself.
I wish. No, you have to go into the new themes editor and meticulously rebuild the layout of every single page using the new JSON blocks. You have to relink all your dynamic data tags, reassign your custom meta fields, and basically recreate your menus.
That sounds brutal.
It is. A full theme migration for an established store typically demands 10 to 20 hours of tedious, highly focused rework. It's a massive operational disruption, which is exactly why choosing a scalable architecture from day one is so critical.
Wow, okay, so let's synthesize all of this. The bottom line for you, the listener, is not to suffer from analysis paralysis regarding the structural shell of your store.
Right, don't overthink it.
Exactly. The most effective strategy is to start with a highly optimized foundation, like the Free Horizon theme. Get your store live, and fiercely focus your operational energy on the elements that actually drive conversions.
Which is acquiring phenomenal product photography, writing compelling copy, and executing smart marketing.
Yes. You can always endure the 20-hour migration to a premium architecture later once the cash flow actively justifies the upgrade.
Exactly. But before we wrap up, this raises an important question that stretches beyond the immediate source material.
Ooh, okay. What is it?
So we established that over 70% of e-commerce traffic occurs on mobile devices, right? Where users are accustomed to infinitely scrolling through social media feeds.
Right, the TikTok or Instagram scroll.
Exactly. And we also established that modern store architecture is essentially just modular blocks of JSON data pulling information from a headless database.
The separation of the presentation layer from the data itself.
Right. So if the theme is truly just a lens, that lens can theoretically take any shape. If the vast majority of consumers are exclusively swiping with their thumbs on a small glass rectangle, at what point does the traditional concept of a website storefront, with its formal headers, navigation menus, and footers, at what point does that become entirely obsolete?
Oh, wow. I never thought about that.
It's highly probable that the architecture is pointing us toward a future where e-commerce dissolves into a seamless app-like infinite scroll, just dynamically rendering custom JSON blocks tailored specifically to the individual user's data profile in real time.
So the rigid boundaries of the digital store might just disappear altogether.
Entirely.
That is wild. It certainly makes you evaluate the concept of physical and digital shelving in a completely different light. I mean, the infrastructure isn't going away. It's just becoming entirely invisible to the consumer.
Completely invisible.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring. Always test your user experience on a mobile screen, and keep questioning the mechanics of the digital spaces you interact with every day. We'll see you next time.